All right, folks, CNN reporting that the CDC has raised its Ebola response to the highest level. I'm not sure what that is. We have reports of 6 or more people in this country, including one here in New York. We still don't have the results in, being tested for the Ebola virus. Flights are still coming into this country from all over Africa, whether they have an Ebola outbreak or not. Joining us now, as he does every Wednesday at this time, is my friend, Charles Hurt, columnist for the Washington Times. Hello, Charles.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Your column, viral. Do you favor the BLEED Act, or are you a racist? A little tongue-in-cheek there, but why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Well, and I don't even know what all the controversy is, Steve, because, of course, if you are in favor of our current immigration policies, of course you would be in favor of the BLEED Act, which stands for Begin Loving Ebola Emigres Dude. And what it would do is it would just round up all the Ebola patients all over Africa and bring them to America, because that's what our immigration policy currently is. We don't have the immigration policies that countries all over the planet have, that Mexico has, that Canada has, where they gauge immigration so that it benefits Canadians, or to simply solve everyone else's problems by bringing here. And so I can't think of a better display of that than with the Ebola outbreak. And we just need to round all of them up, bring them to the United States. We could put them in New York, we could put them in Atlanta, we could put a bunch of them in California, just string them, put thousands all over California. And then we would, that's what our immigration policy is.
And I know, and I'm not going to speak for you, but I just want to let the the left know, and the Media Matters people who watch the shows like this one, you're not making light of Ebola. What you're doing is you're taking our stated immigration policy as stated by Obama and the left when it comes to who's poor. Anybody who's in trouble around the globe has a right to be here, because that's what America is all about. We are a refuge for those kinds of people. So certainly, by extension, it would apply to the Ebola victims, I would assume, is what you're saying.
But you raise a very good point, Steve. I guarantee you that people, a lot of those people on the left, would view this and see this as making light of something. It's not making light of anything. The only people who are making light of something is the left. And they're making light of the integrity of this country. They're making light of serious immigration and of having good, strong, healthy immigration, which I think the vast majority of us support. Good, smart, healthy immigration. And one of the most offensive things to me that you always hear from the left, talking about them making light of very serious issues, is their insistence on calling illegals in this country undocumented immigrants. How dare you smear all of the millions of good immigrants who make up this country? Who came here legally? How dare you smear them by calling these illegals immigrants? They're not immigrants. They're illegals. They're aliens. That is the term. But the left refuses to use that term because they want to lump them all. The Democrats are doing this for one reason only, and that is because they are looking for indentured voters, and they want to get them here because they think that they can indoctrinate them into being supporters of their party. And it is nothing. There's no principle whatsoever involved except pure partisanship on their part.
Absolutely. And you end the piece by saying, now I realize there might be some of you out there who think this is not a good idea. Most of you are probably racist, so just shut up. But if you happen to be a person who really is not a racist but still thinks that somehow this is a bad or risky idea, then you just need to calm down. Let me ask you about going forward what this president might do with regard to his executive order. He's got the pen. He's threatened to, according to Gutierrez, the congressman from Chicago and others, he's going to sign an executive order that's going to grant blanket amnesty in effect to 6 million people. Ruben Navarrete, Latino, CNN contributor, syndicated columnist, was on the show yesterday, and he said he doesn't think, but he says Obama is a teaser to Latino. I disagree. I think Obama's going to push it as far as he can, and while he does it, he'll say, "You don't like it, sue me."
Yeah, I agree with you in that I mean, I don't think that he particularly, just like the rest of the Democrats, I don't think he cares about Latinos in particular. I don't think he cares about Hispanics. That's not what this is about. What this is about is marshaling voters for their party. That's all this is about. But that said, I tend to agree with you that, this president has shown, if he's shown anything, he has shown he is uninhibited by anything, by which in some ways, there's something admirable about it, because you like you want a leader to be bold and be willing to break free of the past, to do things that are that really move us forward. But what we have seen from this guy is that he is so willing to smash everything that is in the past, that he's willing to trample on the Constitution, as he's done many, many, many times, whether it's with Obamacare or with immigration issues, and of course the whole reason we have the crisis on the border right now is because the president, I would argue unconstitutionally and unlawfully, made a blanket decree that his administration was no longer going to by Congress and signed into law by previous presidents. He said that he's not going to enforce those laws anymore. And what children and families, hundreds of thousands across South and Central America heard was, oh, we get amnesty if we just send our children, let them get raped, murdered, and harassed, and pick up diseases coming up through Mexico. If we can just get them to the border, they can become Americans. And he's responsible for every bit of that. And it all stems from this notion that he doesn't, nothing applies to him. He makes up his own rules as they go along, and then he changes them when he feels like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get back to the Ebola situation. There are airlines that are not flying in and out of there from a couple of countries, Great Britain, and from some of the countries affected. We're not doing that. I haven't heard any plans. I didn't hear that it's under consideration. To me, this is just as dangerous, if not more so, than having the planes fly over, to Ben Gurion Airport because a Hamas rocket landed 1,000 feet away from the airport. I mean, if this gets into this country, and who knows where it ends, why are we not being proactive?
Well, you make an excellent point, but and my understanding is that in this country, a disease like this would not ravage Americans the way it ravages Africans, largely because we're far better nourished, we're healthier, we're immunized and inoculated against a lot of the diseases that they aren't. So as soon as they get a disease like this that attacks the immune system, you're toast. You're done. And whereas here, my understanding from talking to doctors and Africa experts is that it would be fairly unlikely that you would have mass casualty fatalities here. But your point is a very important one, and that is that we stopped flights into Israel, and the danger, even with those caveats that I just listed, the danger of something like this is so much higher than it is a case like that, and I think it shows the perspective of this administration and their willingness to gladly offend, and an unwillingness to take anything near that same sort of measure for something that is a whole lot graver and more serious.
The president's now 13 minutes late for his 5 p.m. Eastern press conference. We always have a pool around here to see whenever he's making a scheduled announcement or press conference or appearance, before the microphones, how late he will be. But
obviously, Steve, you just don't understand that the clocks apply to people like you.
Right. Well, no,
they don't apply to him.
Charles, I am convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt, because this happens every single time, and we're not talking about 2 or 3 minutes. We're talking about a half hour, 40 minutes, 25 minutes. I think they announce it on purpose, and he purposely, that's my opinion, purposely says, I'm going to show them in their face. Yeah. They don't like it. I'm the president. I don't have to be there. I mean, I just, what else could it be? What could he be doing that's more important? That hours ago they announced this. What is he doing?
Yeah, and it's the opposite of, you take a guy like Bubba, Bill Clinton. He was always late to everything, but the reason he was always late is because he just couldn't stop talking to the last person he was talking
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And he just is so thrilled with humanity that he just can't let it go to get to the next thing.
And you mean that? You mean that sincerely? And George W. Bush was always on time. Letter perfect. This guy,
Yeah.
it's not as if he's
Solving Ebola victims or anything like that.
Crazy stuff.
That's not what it is.
Charles,
He's just sitting there, and I think you're right. I think it is. It's a power thing.
Yep, absolutely. Charles, great to talk to you, sir. Congratulations on a great piece. We'll speak to you next week.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Thank you. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back with former NFL linebacker Gary Cobb. He's running for Congress. You're going to have a very interesting introduction to him.